Hi there and welcome back to Tamaracade, and today's episode has a very hedgehog-y theme to it. Since his debut in 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog has become one of the most iconic characters in all of gaming. He wowed the world running through loops with the speed that only blast processing can provide. The game has you speeding through brightly coloured hills, dodging lava in an ancient ruin, and smashing the absolute crap out of the evil Dr. Ivo Robotnik to save your cute little woodland friends. When Sonic arrived, Sega finally had a mascot that could even make Mario shake in his overalls. Since then, Sonic has appeared in a metric ton of games, and over the years his career has certainly had its ups and downs. At his peak, it was reported that Sonic was even more recognisable than Mickey Mouse. With Sonic's incredible level of popularity, it may come as a bit of a surprise to hear that some of the high-ups at Sega of America weren't all that keen on making the character the company mascot. And what was the reason for this? Did Sonic just have too much of that radical 90s tood for the stuffy old suits at the top? Nope, it was all due to his species. That's right, the fact that he was a hedgehog had some people worried. And why? Because they were unsure that enough Americans would even know what a hedgehog is. This may sound quite ridiculous now, but hedgehogs aren't native to the Americas, nor were there any hedgehog characters in any international entertainment franchises at the time. Well, apart from oppressed Victorian housewife Mrs. Tiggywinkle. Over here in the UK, however, the hedgehog is very well known. We don't get lions or grizzly bears over here, so these little guys are about as exciting as wildlife gets in these parts. Seeing one of these on your way home is a huge event, and you'll be telling everyone you meet about it for weeks. Another interesting fact about the UK is that the country had a booming video game industry during the 1980s. Thousands of games were being produced by the likes of Ocean Software, Gremlin Graphics, and Ultimate Play the Game. So when you take these two facts into account, it then isn't too shocking to hear that the worlds of hedgehogs and computer games collided before the birth of the Blue Blur. I present to you the one, the only, Spiky Harold, or Spiky Harold Goes Hibernating as it's called on the loading screen. This game was written by Andrew Rogers and published by Firebird in 1986 on a plethora of home micros including the ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC and Commodore 64. Looking at the cover here, we can see that Harold looks a lot more like your adorable garden visitor than another hedgehog we all know. He's here licking his lips about to tuck into an apple. And look at the face on this worm, he knows what's going to happen. He has been consumed by a vortex of purest despair and knows there is nothing that he can do to escape his terrible fate. Also, my copy here was purchased from Asda for a grand total of 6 hard goods. So, let's see what the game's like. Who's that? That looks nothing like the cute little cutie from the front. And listen to this banging tune. You'll be sure to see this make it onto Now That's What I Call Tinnitus 46, coming to all awful record stores near you. Luckily you can turn this off in game. And here we go. It's a platformer. Looks like old Harold beat Sonic in the genre race here too. But it's not a fast-paced platformer, it's one of those slow, methodical, non-linear collectathons akin to Jet Set Willy, only without the humour and quirkiness of that game. So what's this game about? Well, winter is on its way, and Harold here has decided to wait until the very last day to get prepared like an absolute pillock. Finally, a video game character we can all identify with. So you have 24 hours to collect the food. Yes, you have a 24-hour time limit. It's not 24 game hours where an hour equates to 1 real life minute or anything like that. The timer counts in real time, so making it the most pointless timer in the world. Over at the opposite side of the screen you'll see a star with the 19 next to it. This is the number of lives. It's a bit of a strange number to start with. In all the games I've ever played, this is the only one where you start with 19 lives. You may think 19 lives is a bit excessive, but in reality, that's only about enough to last you about 9.3 seconds. Just take a look at this first screen. You'll see that adorable little chick over there? Well, it wants to kill you and everyone you love. This generic insect thing? A bringer of death. And this guy? Hang on a minute. So this screen is brutally tough, and if you're new to this game, you'll easily burn through most of your lives right here. You need to jump onto this ledge here, but with extreme precision, as to not smack straight into the prototype buzz bomber. Then you need to time your next jump perfectly as to avoid the fly and the murder chicken. If you can make it past the first screen, you'll soon find yourself underground where most of the game takes place. And there's a wine glass down here too for some reason. And if you take it, then Spiky Harold gets spiky hammered. This inverts your controls until you leave the room. These may at first seem like an obstacle that should be avoided, but they actually count to the number of items collected. In other words, you need to get all of the booze to complete the game. Harold cannot rest until he's gotten absolutely suzzled. This is the only game where you can play as an alcoholic hedgehog. Even Shadow didn't go that edgy. Sorry mate, you're gonna have to up your game and start doing crystal meth if you want to get your edgiest hedgehog badge back. Well, after a lovely glass of leaf from Milch, what's better than a big juicy worm? He is a hedgehog, they eat worms, I looked it up and everything. But no, the worm isn't food and just kills you. At least we know Harold isn't a violent drunk. So there's that, I suppose. There are also snails that kill you too, despite those also being a favourite of hedgehogs in real life. The cast of enemies also includes ghosts, balls, clouds, bats and mice. There's also some shark-infested custard. What's a chicken doing down here? And there's water that drips from the ceiling that kills you dead, despite the fact that you can just walk through water in this bit here. I assume it's water. It might be something a little more up Harold Street, like absinthe. The controls of this game are as stiff as Harold's choice of beverage, and Harold does this really annoying thing where if you fall from a higher platform, he'll automatically take an extra step, often straight into an enemy, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you jump onto a platform and hit the edge, then Harold will just turn around and walk straight off. If you keep hammering the jump button, you can avoid falling off here sometimes, but you do have to do a jump. If you jump and hit something, you bounce off, land, and then take a step. This can get infuriating. Look at this bit, I needed to jump on this tall plant to get past. To do that, all I need to do is jump on this platform here, but this keeps happening. And the jumping in this game, moving during a jump is very stiff and you'll often plummet somewhere you don't want to. Also, you jump so high, making it extremely difficult to avoid flying straight into an enemy. Oh look, it's Harold's house, and he's got a cheeky little glass of Buckfast waiting for him. Surprise, surprise. And mate, those leaks are pretty bad. You need a plumber. If you do somehow miraculously make it through the game and collect all the pieces of food, your only reward is a congratulations message. Now, it might be easy to just look at this game and take the piss and call it shite, but I don't think that would be all that fair. After all, this game was not a AAA 60 quid console release, it was released for the low price of £1.99, and I think for that price, you could do a lot worse. Overall, I would say that this game is alright for a budget title, but there isn't really much of a reason to play it today. If it wasn't for the fact that Harold is a hedgehog, I very much doubt I'd have ever picked it up. Reviews at the time also agreed that it's alright for a budget title, but nothing all that special. I have mainly been looking at the Spectrum version for this review, but the other versions are pretty much the same from what I've played. The notable exception is the Commodore 16 version, which is, well, better. That might come as a bit of a surprise. The C16 is not as well regarded as a gaming system as the Specky or C64, but its version of Spiky Harold seems to have fixed some of the issues found with the other versions. Some of the most annoying enemies are removed, and some of the platforming bits have been rejigged, making it easier to jump on. There's also no ear-splitting music, which is nice. The C16 version is still incredibly difficult, but it is a lot fairer than the other versions. If you have a Commodore 16 or Plus 4, why not add this to your collection for a few minutes of fun? I mean, it's better than the C16 version of Green Beret, that's for sure. This was Harold's only adventure. There were no more games, no sequel featuring a sidekick with a name like Kilometus Prower, aka Appendages the Mammal. But in 2006, this original game did actually get a remake. Yes, that's right, Spiky Harold 06. Now, I can't seem to get this working, so I can't show you video or comment on how it plays. But I'll put a link in the description so you can see if you can get it sorted yourself. Thank you very much for watching the Tamaracade today, so please share, like and subscribe and leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think. And hit that bell icon just as hard as Harold would hit a can of particularly strong lager if you want to be informed of any time a video goes up. So until next time then, bye!